Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Jordan Campbell here on Inside the Circle. I hope you guys have enjoyed season one so far. We've done some amazing testimonies, amazing stories. Now it's time, graduation. Kids are making a transition from um, middle school to high school to college, college to the NFL or pro, or kids are leaving their school and now coming to prep school. So I really wanted to bring all this thing together, tie everything in together, and really focus on the mental performance and the mindset side as kids make the transition from each chapter to each stage of their life as they go through and what trials and tribulations they're going to go through. So I had to bring the one and only Jake Lee on today for Inside the Circle so we could go over certain strategies for parents and kids, and how to prepare for these transitions, how to make sure their mindset's right, and really give them a game plan and a blueprint as they go through the adversity that they're going to go through as they transition, because there's always adversity as they make these transitions for every step of their life. So episode 12, Jake Lee, Championship Cognition. Let's roll, baby.
Roll. This is a vital topic to discuss, as you're alluding to, man. It's graduation season. It's promotion season. It's a rookie year season.
Yeah.
It's time to rewire the mind, get your mind right, man. And I thank you for having me on here today. Drop some nuggets here today and a blueprint, like JC said, to have you thrive in your sport.
And what I tell everybody, whether you're a youth football player, softball, baseball, right? Every chapter of your life as you make a transition, whether let's say you're a 8-year-old kid making a jump to a 9 and 10-year-old team, right? Where you become the oldest to now you're the youngest on the team.
That's right.
Or you're a 8th grader going in to be a freshman, right? Or you're a senior who's an alpha, a big fish in a small pond, and you make the transition to college where now you're a small fish, right, in a big pond, or your rookie year in whatever sport. That's always the hardest transition because you don't know what to expect. Mm-hmm. You don't know what you don't know.
That's right.
You don't know the guys in the locker room. You don't know the guys on the team, the coaches. You're now meeting everybody for the first time, and you're going to go through uncomfortable times. You're going to go through adversity. You're going to go through figuring out phase in time, right? And I always tell kids, even if you're a young kid, right? And let's just say you're on a 10U team and you're the young kid now as a 9-year-old, right? You have to go through a whole new phase of earning your stripes, right? If you're in 8th grade and you're a dog in 8th grade, now you're into a freshman locker room. Well, now you're the baby a part of that, right? Same thing for every level of sports. So with all the kids that are either joining our academy, joining our youth football program, making the jump from our program to a top program in high school, or our guys that are in the transfer portal going from one school to the next, trying to teach them how to learn from their mistakes, how to avoid the pitfalls, and how to game plan and structure pretty much the next 6 months of their life.
That's right.
Because it's always the hardest time when you're joining a new program and a new environment or a new culture. So kind of bringing Jake Lee on, we just want to go through different things that he's seen and experienced with the kids that were in our program, or who left our program, or who were in college, the NFL, who came back. We have NFL guys, college D1 basketball players, softball, soccer. They do Zoom meetings with you just to get their mind right while they're there. And we have kids that are with us who go to high school who stay with you for their championship cognition program.
That's right.
So what is something that you've been with us for now 8 years? What is something you see for kids who are in our program, mm-hmm. or come to our program, that they always struggle with?
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna answer with an umbrella answer to start and then break it down. You need to ensure that you are broadcasting the signal you want to be received. All right, for the athletes where that went over your head, I'm gonna say it one more time. You need to make sure you are broadcasting the signal that you want to be received. I know so many athletes who come in saying that they're him, or they're top dog or whatnot, and their chests are puffed up because they're 8th grade or 12th grade, and now you get humbled, right? And it's very...
And sorry to cut you off.
No, go for it, Jay.
I get the call every year. Mm-hmm. Every year I can show you text for text. Doesn't matter if it's a dude, or a guy that's just kind of a kid transitioning. They want to transfer.
Of course.
They want to transfer freshman year. They want to transfer freshman year in college. They're not sure what's going on. They want to quit the team. They want to go back to being comfortable.
That's right.
Right? And for the parents out there, you have to push your kid through adversity, where they're going to be a kid who transfers multiple different times from team to team to team because they're not okay with being uncomfortable. And you have to be uncomfortable, and you have to know that you're always going to be uncomfortable as this next transition of your life.
That's right. It's like it's growth. It's any growth,
Yeah.
right? You can't have all the answers. You've never done it before, so you're going to be uncomfortable. There's going to be adversity, um, but like Kendrick taught us, man, you got to be humble and sit down. And I'm not saying you lose your confidence. I'm not saying that you don't have your goals and whatnot. But what I'm trying to say is you need to make sure that you're earning your coach's feedback. And I know a lot of people who say they want it, but as soon as some feedback or constructive criticism's thrown their way, they're folding like a lawn chair, man. And when I say you got to earn their coach's feedback, that means put yourself out there. That means put yourself out there, man. It's okay if you go into this new setting and mess up once. It's okay if you go in there and you try something new, man. Like I'm saying, it's growth. It's growth. But it's the people that are timid, the people that are fake about it, right? Who you're gonna get
And those
exposed.
people are the ones that transfer. And it's so sad because we try to warn them. And I had the older guys,
Yeah.
Nazir White was here last year, who was training. And we had a bunch of big headed eighth graders who were going to modern day. And they're talking about, oh, we're coming in, we're starting, like I'm playing varsity, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And Wyatt said, you're not going to make it in our locker room because everybody here has to earn it. And we're a bunch of dogs.
That's right.
You can't come in thinking you're just going to come and take somebody's spot at the number one school in the country.
That's right.
And he tried to warn these kids. And the kid I'm talking about just transferred from modern day to Damien.
I can believe it.
Right? He went from the top program to a lower level program. And he was the one who kind of dismissed him. And Wyatt was a guy who was a hothead who went in there and he had to learn the hard way, but now he's the number one player in California, number one player in the country.
That's right.
And he tried to let him know, like, bro, you're starting over from scratch. If you come into the locker room trying to tell these guys they're not shit and you're not going to listen, you're not going to buy into the brotherhood, you're never going to make it here.
Never gonna make
year after year after year, I see these guys that have that mindset tuck their tail and run like cowards because mommy and daddy protect them. And instead of teaching them the lesson of working through adversity and pushing through it and competing and being a locker room guy and knowing your role during that time, your role is different freshman year than it is senior year.
Yeah.
Everyone has a different role. And the ones who don't accept that role end up not going to college.
Yeah.
They end up transferring multiple different times and they end up disappearing.
That's right. That's right. It's wild how like a little bit of discomfort can really it really reveals like the true character. You know what I mean? And that just I again, I'm not trying to throw shots at anyone or anything like that, but it is what it is. Mental toughness, adversity, grit, perseverance. These are major cornerstones for the successful, right? Like being able to withstand that adversity and persist through it, persevere, show that grit, man. It's not a maybe you should decide to get it, but that's a must. It's a requirement. It's not a hashtag, bro.
It's not a hashtag. It's not just you talking and saying who you are. Usually the kids who love the weight room and love the grind and love the work and they don't run from the work.
Exactly.
They're the ones who make it because they know the griminess and the gritty about the process. The ones who like the flash, the Instagram posts, they like the having a camera guy there to have them do 7-on-7 and filming them during workouts. Those guys are about the flash. They're not about the grind. I always say the ones who go and build character in the weight room and do the things that are nasty and ugly and take a lot of commitment and hard work when no one's watching you, no likes, right? Those are the ones who make it. The ones who are so caught up in the flash, the 7-on-7, the position work only, the easy stuff, those guys always fade out because they don't like being uncomfortable.
That's right.
And the weight room makes you uncomfortable.
That's right.
It challenges you. It makes you fail. So they'll do what they like doing, which is the flashy stuff, and running routes, which is easy because it's fun, or 7-on-7 because it's easy. Those guys end up never making it.
That's right. That's right. There's something I talk to my athletes about all the time, man, how you have to earn your discomfort. You have to earn the pain, the struggle that you're going through, man. And so many times when we feel a little bit of pain or discomfort, it's easy to throw that white towel in, man, and just go the other way. Just U-turn on the goal, on the vision, man. It's so easy, right? That's why it's considered normal, right? But when we're talking about transitioning into high school sports, collegiate sports, professional sports, man, that's not normal. That's not easy, right? So you got to embark on this journey, understanding this thing is not just for the faint of heart. It's not just something where it's like, all right, I guess I'm gonna do this, man.
The same kids who show up to school not bring their shaker cup, the same kids who don't take their nutrition or their supplements, the same kids who don't wear their polos,
Yeah,
right? The same kids who can't keep a 3.0 GPA,
yeah,
right? The same kids who show those traits
yeah.
where they can't do the things that should be easy, just following directions and doing your
100%,
job, right?
100%.
They approach the way you approach one thing is the way you approach everything.
That's right.
So the kids that go and wear their polos, they do their 3.0, they show up on time, they take their supplements, they take the weight room serious. Those guys tend to outwork the talented guys. Hard work beats talent when talent stops working hard. And the guys year after year, we talk about the success here. You see the success that's talked about at these top private schools, but no one talks about how many guys actually go to those private schools and who transfer.
That's right.
Right. And I would say we have majority of our kids that we put out, they end up outworking the other kids who have more talent. Talent isn't enough anymore. Talent is not enough no more. You have to be able to have the grit, the hard work. You have to be able to be uncomfortable, right? It's not about just being a talented guy. I watch so many talented guys year in and year out that phase out because they never really buy into the process, right? They talk about the process.
Of course.
They talk about how good they want to be. They're the first one to let everybody know how good they are, but they're the first ones to transfer once things get hard. And that's a lack of mental performance, a lack of mental strength. And I'm tired of seeing it.
You preaching to the choir, man. I know. I'm with you, man. There's this old saying that's really stuck with me, man, where you don't have to talk about it when you are about it, man. And the ones that talk the most, it's like, all right, you just revealing your cards, man, without
You're
even
insecure.
you're not even telling me. It's crazy because all those things you listed, from the polos to the shaker cups to getting here on time, all those things are within our control.
Yeah.
And so it's no shock to me that it's like, oh, you're gonna fizzle away because you couldn't put a polo on.
And the same
You know?
responsibilities go into high school if you're going to a private school.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
got to wear your
man.
uniform, right? You got to show up on time. You got to be on time to the bus that's picking you up at 6 a.m.
That's right.
When you go to college, you have to go to 10 hours of tutoring. It's mandatory for freshmen to do it. It's mandatory for you to wear your team issue gear. It's mandatory for you to go to workouts, right? And the guys who don't figure it out in 8th grade, hopefully they end up figuring it out in high school. Hopefully if they even make it through high school, they figure out in college. But very rarely do they actually figure it out. They just blame everybody else and make excuses, and it's everybody else's fault besides their own.
It's so easy to blame other people.
So easy.
So easy, man.
So what would be 1 through, let's say, 5? Step 1, what should the kids do and what do they need to know and how to prepare
100%.
To make it successful as they transition to a next chapter of their life?
Step 1 is being humble enough to recognize that you are no longer the big dog on campus, right? Understanding that with that comes a responsibility and obligation to you in order to show up every day, understanding, you're not that guy anymore.
I would say you have to be honest with yourself.
Thank you. And that's exactly where I'm going with this. You have to earn your stripes, but in order to earn your stripes, you have to acknowledge, you have to be aware that, like, shoot, I got to work. I got some work I got to put in. Like, all that work I did at Winter Circle, for example, well, I'm not at Winter Circle anymore. All these people put in work too. They don't know.
You might have a head start because you went to Winter Circle and they say, okay, this guy should know what it's about.
Of course.
So you are ahead of the 8 ball because they know where you're coming from.
Yeah.
But your actions will very quickly speak louder than your words.
Very quickly, man. The second you walk onto campus, what your body language looks like, if you're on time, if you're early, what that first conversation's like with coach, how you approach everything, man. It's
Look
gonna
him in
speak
his
very
eyes,
quickly.
shake his hand.
100%.
Be 5 minutes early. If you're on time, you're late. The guys who show up and run into meetings at, let's say, meeting starts at 7 a.m. and if you show up at 6:59, you're coming in looking for a seat. I already know what type of player you are.
Exactly.
You already have a knock on you.
Exactly. So understand that you're rewriting your story with each transition, with each level up. You're rewriting your story. Okay, so you got to understand that, number one, even before you walk into campus, onto the team, man. You got to understand that if you go into high school, if you go into college, if you go into the NFL, it's a whole new beast. It's a whole new beast. The amount of responsibilities coming your way, it's ramping up. JC already touched on all the things that are mandatory. going on. That list can keep going.
And that's before
Right.
we even step
We
on the
have
field.
yeah, we haven't even stepped on the field.
Stepped on the field. It just comes down to,
Yeah.
did he show up early?
Yeah.
Did he wear his uniform and what we
Right.
gave him for workouts?
Right.
Did he come to practice prepared?
Yeah.
Did he study his playbook?
Yeah.
Did he bring his notebook to meetings, or did he show up with no notebook, no pen?
Hasn't been a snap yet.
Is he on huddle watching film from practice? Because you can't lie.
Right.
Coaches could see how much time the actually player has spent on huddle.
That's right.
Right. So before we even get on the field, all these tales of who you are, you could fake it. You could go and lie about who you are, and you could pump
sure.
yourself up through social media.
For sure.
But all those little attention to details really tell who you are, because
Crucial.
you could hide in the, you could kind of lie to people,
Of course.
but in the dark, what are you doing? Are you doing the attention to details and the little things? And the guys we see that don't do the little things really never make it.
They don't, man, because the little things accumulate to the big things, just like we're
100%.
talking about. You know what I mean? So you got to recognize that this journey, man, like we keep touching on, it's not for the faint of heart. It's not for the faint of heart, right? We're not trying to like weed people out or anything like that. We're
I would
trying to
say
get
they
you
cut
clear.
themselves. They cut themselves.
Come on, man. Come on, man. Making coach's life easy, right? Like you gotta understand what your end goal is, man. What are you trying to do? What are you trying to accomplish? Who are you trying to be? What legacy are you trying to live? Like so many times, and I guess this would be whatever 2 or 3 right here. So many times, the people that I work with that go on to really make it and make a name for themselves, man, their purpose is beyond themselves, right? Because we focus so much on us and what it is that we're doing, man. But like, if you got a purpose that's stronger than your excuses, man, it's going to propel you. It's going to push you to work even harder than you could even imagine you could, man. I know if you listen to this right now, there's been a time in your life where you were ready to just give up. You were tired, you were hurting, whatever it may be, and you kept going and you proved yourself, man, I got more in the tank. I can make this thing happen, right? You got to understand there's a difference between being tired and exhausted, man. When you're tired, man, yeah, your body's feeling it, your mind's feeling it, everything like that. But you still have 20%, 30% in the tank. You can keep going, right? When you exhausted, man, you taxed, you've done it all, man. What often gets misconstrued is people be thinking that they've done all that they can do.
Yeah.
When in reality, man, there's someone out there who's done everything you've already done, plus
more.
Plus, right? So, and this circles me back to adversity, man. You got to get comfortable being uncomfortable, right? And that's something that if you need to watch a motivational video, whatever, that'll work for you for a little bit. But I can assure you this: adversity training is a must. It's a must, man. You got to rewire your mind in order to be seeking that adversity, to be seeking that difficult time. And I don't say that to make you feel like, oh man, I just got to be mad and depressed and just feeling pressure all the time. No, But you gotta understand, as soon as you wake up in the morning, man, you're performing. You perform for you perform for your family, right? And then we get to football or whatever sport that we're playing here. Everything is being measured, everything is being analyzed, everything is being critiqued, everything, right? So the more comfortable you can be being uncomfortable, man, it's going to be any easier. It's just that you're so much better off and you're so much better suited to be able to handle whatever comes your way. That when it's fourth quarter, 2 minutes left, and you need a stop, and all eyes are on you, man, that's where you rise up rather than fold, right? So changing your relationship with adversity and pressure is a must, and that can be done in a number of ways, man. And that's something where a lot of people don't really recognize the importance of like mental training at that, but everything that we're talking about thus far is all mindsets, all mental training, man. So get with me if that's something that you need to work on, man. It's handling that adversity, handling that pressure, right?
So step 1 is what?
Step 1, I feel like is humbling yourself to the point of recognizing you need to work. You need to prove yourself again, right? Because that's something that a lot of people miss. A lot of people carry it over thinking like, oh, my legacy is already set.
Yeah,
bro, you 14, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know who you are.
I wasn't even that good at 14,
Oh,
so it's
yeah.
like to think you made it at 14 is crazy.
And
because,
a lot of people do.
yeah, because the chip
of
on my
people do.
shoulder allowed me to really become good
Yeah.
junior year when people, no one recognized me.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
I always had that chip on my shoulder being the undersized guy, wasn't the best guy. Yeah, I might have stats and accolades and things
sure.
like that. But the work wasn't done, right? We
That's
had
right.
to put in the work.
That's right.
And a lot of kids who think they arrived in eighth grade, it's like, you guys are
It's
clueless.
crazy.
If that's where your mountain is and your milestone, you
Yeah.
have no clue what the next, hopefully,
Yeah.
8 years of your life, 4 years of high school, college. Who cares about pros?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's about being able to get a free education and leaving off mom and dad's couch. And
Right. Right.
if you
Right.
think you arrived at 14, you're going to be a kid who disappears, goes to multiple different high schools, and everyone's going to say, what happened to that kid? And you're going to tell people your whole life, I used to be somebody. I won a youth football championship. Oh, this guy didn't like me, or this guy screwed me, or this happened.
Yeah.
And you're still your whole life telling people it's everyone else's fault and blaming everybody else. And you still haven't looked in the mirror. And we all know that the Al Bundys,
course.
the Uncle Al, or what's it, Uncle
I know, I'm
Rico's.
with you.
And it's like, bro, don't be that guy
be
when
that,
you had the
man.
talent where all you had to do is put in the work, humble yourself,
That's it.
and control what you could control.
That's it, man. So the humility piece is major, right? And then so
Step two?
Step two, I feel like would be putting yourself in a position to earn the coach's feedback, right? And that's really going
Earning their
in,
trust is huge.
earning the trust, right? Going in, yeah, you can talk to coach, have that initial interview, let them know like, hey, this is what I'm about. I want to be coach hard, whatever you want to say, like that's all
And
fine.
a lot of earning a coach's trust is what you do off the field.
Correct, right?
And I always had coaches
Yeah.
say, you earn my trust Monday through Friday.
Yeah,
And on Saturdays, I trust you, so you're going to play on
there you
Saturdays
go.
in college.
Exactly.
Or you earn my trust Monday through Thursday.
Right.
And then I trust that you could go out there and do your job. It's
Exactly.
not going and half-assing it in practice, half-assing in the weight room, not showing up to class, not handling your grades, and say, well, I'm better than everyone, coach. I should be able to play.
Right.
I can't trust you.
Right.
What you just put yourself out there as is somebody who does everything half-assed. Why would I be able to put you in the game and expect you to do everything right? We can't win football games that way.
No, 100%. So that's a major component to this whole equation, man, is earning that coach's trust, ensuring that if a coach is giving you that feedback, constructive criticism, if it may feel harsh, just understand that, man, they're invested in you. Right, so change your relationship with that overall. Understand that these are nuggets that you need to be storing in that mind of yours, man. A big part of people that I've found to have success going to that next level is really learning about that team or that school's culture and embarking in it, becoming a part of it, right? Becoming a part of that family to make you feel a little bit more comfortable in this whole transition. I know it's extremely difficult. It can be scary. It can be intimidating, right? Moving on to that next level. But just understand that like every single person that's come before you, man, they've all done the same thing, right? So don't think that it's impossible or anything like that. But there's certain steps that you have to take in order to get acclimated and feel as though the best version of you can appear when it's game day or when the lights are on, right? So getting to know what the coaching staff is like and to know what your teammates are like and to know the captains, right? And then from there, you establish these relationships, this rapport, where then, hey, maybe after practice you can talk to QB1, be like, hey, let's get some reps in, or let's hit the jugs machine with the wide receivers, right? Or whatever sport you may be taking part in, man. Formulating these relationships so that now you don't feel as though you're alone in this thing, man, because that's the worst position to be in, man. When you feel as though it's all you all the time, man, you gotta understand you're playing a team sport. Right, it's bigger than you, and sometimes I've worked with people who it's not even about the campus or the team culture; it's the city's culture, right? I know that there's a couple people here from Bama right now, and they just be talking to me about the whole city. The whole city is locked into Bama sports, right? So you got to understand what you're representing here. Obviously, you represent you, your family's name, the school, everything like that. But you gotta know what the culture is like that you're in and take part in that, right? And that's just to build comfort, right? And the more comfortable you are, the more positive you feel. The more positive you feel, obviously, the better that you play, right? So again, these are all steps that we're taking with the transition process here, man. Obviously, as you begin this next chapter of your life, another major component, man, is understanding that time management is key. Like you're gonna get pulled in so many directions and so
Time
many
management
things.
is the biggest
It's
thing, right? I didn't even know what time management
I
was. I
feel
didn't
you.
know what short-term, long-term goals were,
Yeah.
right? When you go to
Yeah.
I don't know how other colleges are, but when you go to USC, they give you a 1 credit unit class over summer school when all the freshmen come in,
Yeah.
and it's breaks down time management skills.
That's right.
Right? Short-term goals, long-term goals, right?
Exactly.
And they really help you create a blueprint for kind of what your next 4 years of the rest of your life should look like.
That's right.
And number one thing is time management skills. Can you
be.
get up at 5:30 a.m. or 5 a.m. to eat breakfast to get to 6 a.m. workouts?
Yep.
Can you get from 6 a.m. workouts to your 8 o'clock class on time and not make excuses? Can you get in there at 7:45, shower, get your stuff, and hurry up and run to class? Can you go to class from 8 to 2 o'clock?
That's right.
Right? And then from 2 o'clock to 3:30, you have film study with your team and meetings, team meetings. From 4 o'clock to 6, we would have practice. From 6 o'clock to 7, or some kids would have class after that.
Right.
But let's just say from 6 to 7, you have shower, treatment, dinner, and then you have tutoring from 7 to 9 p.m. Getting home at maybe 9:30 at night and not having a life, but then be able to wake up and do it again, right? That's, for me, with Winter Circle, being here from 6 or 7:45 when school starts, but opening up to leaving at 9 o'clock, that's the same schedule I've had since my whole back 8th grade year. Exactly. I was wired from 8th grade to work 16-hour days and not even blink.
That's right.
When I don't work those days, I feel like I'm doing something wrong.
Exactly.
It feels like I should be doing something. What can I do to get better?
Yeah.
Right? So when people say, like, how do you work, 6-7 days a week, every single day for the last 10 years? It's like, well, it's not the last 10 years. I've been doing it for the last 20 plus years. Yeah. That's all I've known, and that's all I've been taught.
That's it, man. It's time management. I would say it's definitely, it's understood. Like, people understand that they need to have time management skills. They understand the importance of it, but it's often neglected, right? I know a lot of people with the long-term vision, the long-term goal, but they just can't break it down into short-term goals. They can't tell me what their process goals or their performance goals are. Some people watching right now don't even know what that is, right? I could take any goal that you have right now, work it backwards, have it for you so you have a step-by-step process in order to make it happen. But we don't take the time to do that, right? We just figure,
and kids are they're so concerned on, building their brand.
Yeah.
You don't have a brand. So people out there, your brand sucks until you are a guy who plays on the field. Stop worrying about your brand. Stop worrying about NIL deals. Stop worrying about your Instagram followers or trying to make money through your brand. You have no brand if you're not playing on the field and being a dude. Someone told me that in college, where it's like, your brand means nothing, Jordan, if you don't make it to the next level, right? Your brand will only grow if you have success on the football field, which is why we're paying you to come to USC and play football. So stop worrying about all this other stuff that you're trying to do, business or whatever you have going on. If you handle your business, which is why you're here at USC, and you're going to class, you're networking, you have good grades, you're playing, your brand will grow tremendously.
Tremendous.
So many people right now put the carriage before the horse. Well, I'm trying to build my kids' brand. I'm looking for exposure. I'm looking for that. All that means absolutely nothing if he's not producing while he's on the field.
I mean, that's a mic drop moment. That's a
Man,
mic drop
that's a
moment.
clip.
I mean, what? I hope you.
clip.
I hope y'all are hearing
that's
this,
whole
man.
New generation now. Everyone's worried about their brand, my brand, and exposure. You have nothing to show off if you're not good. If you're not big, strong, and fast, if you don't have good grades, if you're not producing on the field, there's no point for exposure.
That's right.
I can't show off shit.
Yeah.
I have to show off something worth showing off. So if you're not big, you're not strong, you're not fast, you're not smart, you're not starting for your team, you're not an all CIF guy, then why are we going to all these camps and showcases and exposure camps and all this stuff that you're doing, but your brand it's nothing, right? We didn't handle the most important things that we need to handle. If you handle the most important things, then your brand naturally, organically grows, because now everyone's paying attention to you because you're big, strong, fast, you're making plays, you have highlights, and everyone else is talking about you besides yourself. No one cares if you're the one posting and talking about yourself if there's nothing to talk about. So the exposure parents are looking for, there's nothing to show off if you're not ready. I always say, all these parents hit me up, hey, can you help me get my kid recruited? Can you help him get into this camp and this camp and this camp? And it's like, is he an all-league guy at least? Did he make first team all-league? No, his coach doesn't like him. Was he an all-CIF guy? Was he all-state guy? Was he all-American? No. Then why are we paying all this money as 9th graders, 10th graders, 11th graders, 8th graders? Why are we going to all these exposure camps to put yourself out there, but there's nothing to show off? If you're not an all-league guy, all-CIF guy, do you think these college coaches are going to recruit you and give you a scholarship? Then why would you go to all these camps to go get an offer if you're not even the best guy in your league? That means you have 5 schools in your league, right? Let's say Roosevelt, Norco, Centennial, Corona, Santiago, just the local schools.
Yep.
So if you're not even the best linebacker in your league, then why are we trying to get recruited by schools that aren't even from California? Why are we trying to get offers from colleges? First thing they're going to do is type in your name, and they're going to say, okay, not even an all-league guy. I'm not going to go and recruit and give a scholarship to a guy that's not even all-league.
Right.
I'm not going to invite him to a Rivals camp, a Nike camp, ESPN camp, a camp where dudes are at if you're not even the best guy locally in your area.
I know.
So many people are so worried about exposure and your brand, and there's nothing to show off, and your brand means nothing until you produce on the field or the sport that you play.
That's it, man.
And that's the mindset that's so wrong right now with this generation.
I say this a lot, and I don't expand on it, I feel like, enough, but I tell people all the time, man, you got to keep the main thing the main thing.
Keep the main thing the main thing.
And
it seems so simple.
So that's why I feel like I don't need to expand,
The main thing. I didn't go to my first camp until after my junior year.
Yeah.
After my junior year.
And why? Why didn't you go until after your junior year?
Because I wasn't ready.
Come on.
Freshman year, I was second team all-league.
Yeah.
Sophomore year, I was first team all-league.
Yeah.
Junior year, we won a CIF championship. I was all-state.
Yeah. Bang.
I was finally recognized as one of the best guys for the people who get paid to do it. Not my mom, not my trainer, not so-and-so.
Come on.
No, like the people who vote are people that are high school coaches. They're from all over the place. They're the guys from the Press Enterprise, the Daily Bulletin, the LA Times, the Max Preps. Once they validated me and said, okay, I must be now ready because I have the accolades to go get a Division I scholarship. So for the guys that go so early, it's like, bro, you haven't been validated by anybody. Why are you going to the Redlands camp? Why are you going to the Laverne camp? Why are you going to these satellite showcases? You're going to pay $300 to go to a USC, UCLA camp with 1,000 kids and get put on the backfield with interns and people who aren't even actually the people who offer you scholarships, and the dudes are on this field, right? So it's like you want to go and put yourself out there, and people say, well, go to a camp because you could compete and you could see what it looks like and you get to get experience. To do what? Stand in line with 100 people and get one rep? Like, you left that camp with a t-shirt. Cool. You bought a t-shirt for $300. You could have bought from the bookstore for $25.
Hey, they got the picture though.
But you got the picture and you posted on Instagram at the camp like I'm a dude. And they'll make a highlight video of themselves, and it's them warming up. It's them doing warm-ups.
It's crazy, man.
Like, you really went to the camp and did a highlight video of yourself, posted on your Instagram and Twitter, tagged Greg Biggins and all these people of you literally warming up and maybe covering somebody, and that was your plan of exposure and getting recruited.
Keep the main thing the main thing, y'all. Keep the main thing the main thing. I hope y'all were hearing JC when he told you a little bit about his path, man, his trajectory. I don't know if you recognize that each of the first 4 things we talked about, he applied, right? He had the humility to admit that I wasn't ready, right? I still need to put that work in. I had to earn coach's trust. I had to earn my own trust. I didn't feel like I was ready.
I had to believe in myself.
I had to believe in myself. I had to make sure my time was managed properly. I'm getting the right trainings in, the right nutrition, the recovery, everything I need to make sure. I had to
live in a weight room by myself after school workouts, driving to go train, taking my nutrition, putting in the work, throwing up, all the things that no one wants to do. I had to do all that before I said, okay, now I'm ready to go. But when I was ready to go now, right, I went to the first camp. Look up online. I was a number 2 combine tester at the camp out of 1,000 people. Awesome. At that point, I still wasn't sure if I was ready until I went there and it was like, okay, I'm all state, right? Just won a championship, but I'm still not the biggest guy. I always wanted to be better.
For sure.
And I go there and it's like, wow, I'm the best athlete in California based on their metrics.
Yeah.
Bigger, stronger, faster, 40 shuttle, vert, broad jump, bench. Okay, I'm really arrived. I'm MVP key of the camp.
Exactly.
Once I got that stamp, I went to the Nike camp. By the time I got back from Stanford and flew back home, I had 40 plus Division I coaches on my voicemail offer me a scholarship. And it's like, wow, it took 2 camps.
2.
It took from 8 years old to 18, 10 years of putting in work silently.
Behind the scenes
that no one's seen. And after 2 camps, I became a national recruit. signed to the #1 recruiting class in the country, became the #3 linebacker in the country, and became the best linebacker in California.
And it was organic. It wasn't
Wasn't
forced.
forced.
It was, I'm putting my head down. I'm grinding. I'm going to put myself in a position to thrive. And when that moment comes, taking
So many
advantage
people
of
try
it.
to force and say, well, social media, you can now go and reach coaches and this and that. If there's nothing to show off, there's nothing to show off.
That's it.
If you're talking about yourself, that's not the right thing. Let them talk about you because you went out there, you ran a fast 40, good shuttle, you worked your butt off, you competed, you looked the part. And now once they start talking, they're the right people that are talking. I always say, would you rather have 1 million followers on Instagram or Twitter and no one can help you, just people following because you're doing whatever stuff? Or would you rather have 10 people on Instagram or Twitter that are following you that could help you get to where you want to get, whether it's recruiters, coaches, whatever, trainers, whatever it may be, someone who could put you out there, right? And right now, kids would rather have 1 million followers of nobody on TikTok and Instagram versus no followers and go out there and get scholarships.
And I really
good exposure versus bad exposure.
I really hope y'all are paying attention to this because if you can read between the lines, we're giving you the exact blueprint, man. You ain't got to worry about all that. You ain't got to worry about all that. You never want to be that person where you're talking more than your actions are showing. Like, you ain't got to talk to anybody about anything so long as you go out there and you show it. You know what I mean? It's that simple. It's that simple, right? Keep the main thing the main thing.
And I see it every year when parents go, well, I could take my kid to Modern Day. They have open workouts. I could take him there. I could take him here. I said, I could do a shadow day. And I said, cool, you're going to be one of 10,000 parents who's gone to a shadow day, who's went to their camps, and you told the coach your kid's good. You know how many parents are going to tell you that the coach your kid's a dude? Damn. Or you could do it the right way. That's right. And we could take you, and you have your player profile that says who you are. Yeah. There's no lying. The numbers are the numbers. We have your profile built. This is who he is. And it sucks because parents get mad and say, well, you guys had a ton of kids get scholarships this year to private schools. Why didn't my kid get one? Because you weren't honest with yourself. I told you you're not a private school kid. You're not a scholarship guy. Yep. If you want to go to a private school, that's fine. They'll accept you. They accept anyone who has good grades. But if you want to be someone who's important, who gets a scholarship and they're investing into you because they're investing into their program, then there's a way to go about that process. So don't compare yourself to the scholarship guys and say, I'm going to Orange Lou or I'm going here, but then get upset that you're paying to go to those schools and you see the other kids going there for free. Exactly. Well, that wasn't the school for you. That's right. And I try to tell you that, and now you're mad at me. Instead of you going and focusing on a school that you should go to, right? You wanted to go to this school to keep up with the Joneses, right? Pay to go there, sit the bench, and then end up transferring after you pay $40,000 after 2 years and realize, that's right. Maybe I'm not the guy. Maybe this isn't the school for me. That's right. Right? There's a program for everybody. And whatever your talent is, I wasn't a private school guy. I started at a Division 8 school that went 0-10. That's right. Transferred over to Norco, took them from Division 5 to Division 2, winning multiple championships. And only way I was able to do that was through development, not talking. I realized I needed to get better. Mm-hmm. I needed a bigger platform. Mm-hmm. And I had to get better. Mm-hmm. And the only way to go compete and play at those schools, it was timing. There's a reason why I didn't go there from a freshman year. I wasn't ready. But as I worked and as I developed and I put in the work and I seen what the Division I athletes around me were doing, I started doing what they were doing. And then naturally I became a product of my environment. If you surround yourself by 9 successful people, you'll be the 10th.
Preach. Success leaves clues, y'all. Leaves clues, right? And that leads me to point number 5 here. And shout out to Coach Coco, the great Coach Coco, man. You got to commit to the commitment.
100%. Commit to the commit.
You got to commit to the commitment, man. And I know just saying that's gonna hit every single person differently. You're gonna hear something and be like, think of something differently.
Because they think they're committing to the commit.
Exactly.
And it's like you going like, you know, like you, there's a different way. Like, well, I run routes out there with my friends. You know, cool. I go like, bro, no. Like there's a way to commit. There's a blueprint. There's work that needs to be put in. There's a way to go about it. Yes. Going to every single camp and paying to go to camps not ready, that's not committing to the camp.
not
You're
it.
trying to get there too fast.
That's not it.
Right? You got to stay in the lab. You got to put your head down.
That's right.
Keep the main thing the main thing.
That's right.
And once people start telling you, hey, you could be a dude, then maybe it's time to go be a dude and put yourself out there at the right situations.
That's right. And that's why, and that kind of just full circles back to now being summertime, right? And like, if you really about that life and you want to commit to the commit, like now's the time. Now's separation season, man.
It is separation.
It is separation
Summer
season.
is what gets you to where you need to get. So many people over June and July. Cool, you could go on vacation. I get all that stuff. But so many people go through summer and it's like, well, it's camp season. I'm going to this camp. You just spent $15,000 flying all over, doing this, going to all these different camps, but you're not ready.
Exactly.
Right? Summertime is the most important time because you should have been training from January to June.
Of course.
Now you have nothing but time. You know what school you're going to. You know where you're at on the depth chart.
Yeah.
You know what your destiny looks like.
Exactly.
Now you know, how do I get better and how do I earn that starting spot?
Yeah.
If you are a starter, how do I become better than the guy at the next school?
Right.
Right. How do I be better than the guy in the next city?
That's right.
How do I go and lead my team to a championship? Right. Summer is about the grind. That's why they call it summer training camp.
Exactly.
They don't call it summer exposure camp.
No.
They call it summer training camp so you could put in the work over summer because you have nothing to do over summer but work and grind.
Yeah.
And put the icing on the cake where you're at and become the best version of yourself come August 1st, your season.
It's right. It's right there. It's been laid out for y'all, man. It's a 5-step, you stay true to this, man. And I know like it's a little bit more general because obviously like we can't talk to you as individuals, right? Like we're just telling you as a whole, like with this transition period, like this is kind of what you want to be focusing on here, right? But I guess that point 6 is take advantage of the summertime, man. Like you got free time, right? And time is the most invaluable thing that we have, man. And like don't be that person who's saying like, yeah, I'm gonna do all these things. Nah, be the person who showed up and did those things, man. And don't just do it once, twice, man. Be consistent with this thing. That's the hardest thing that anyone can do, man, is to be consistent. Anyone can do it one time, man. I know a lot of people with the one-time wonders. That's great, man. Shout out to you. But I remember the people that do it every day. Those are the people that impact me, inspire JC.
100%.
Those are the ones where it's like I have the trust. Coach has trust in you, consistent, right? Those are the ones who, no matter what field they get on, they're going to dominate, be the leader. Why? Because they're consistent. Everything, right? So understand that you have this opportunity right now. Was it June 6th? You have so much time ahead of you, right? To get your mind right, to get your body right, to lock in on what it is that you're trying to actually do with your life, right? And then if you're trying to really come run with the winners, man, you know where to find us.
And I always say, be honest with yourself, right? That's always number one.
Has to.
And surround yourself by people that will be honest with you, not a bunch of yes men.
That's it.
Right? And even with kids in our program, they get upset. They say, Coach, we're going to go to this camp. Can you go and tell the coach? Or can you do this? It's like, bro, you're in 8th grade going to 9th grade.
Yeah.
Why are we going to these showcases and camps and things like that? Your responsibility going into high school is focusing on being the best freshman football player to earn your starting spot on the freshman team. And hopefully a lot of their goals is to play varsity as a freshman.
Of course.
That's your goal.
Of course.
And it's like, well, Coach, you don't believe that we're ready to go? It has nothing about believing you. You're going to be a guy if you stick to the blueprint and everything that we work for. But for you to go spend money and go to all these showcases and college camps, as you haven't got into high school yet. You haven't even started high school practice yet. Like, what is your objective of going to these camps? Do you think you're going to get an offer in 9th grade? You know how hard that is right now with the transfer portal and the scholarships available? All those early offers, all that stuff is done. Right? So focus on the grind, stay in the lab, put in the work, and go be the best freshman on your high school football team. It sounds so simple, but to them, it's like, no, we want more. Why are we rushing the process? Trust the process. Enjoy the process.
Come on.
Don't put the extra stress on your kid because now he goes to these camps. Now he doesn't get noticed. Now he left with a t-shirt, and now he's questioning himself, and we just built their confidence up so much to get them to these top schools. And now they're doubting themselves because they didn't get recognized as an incoming freshman at these camps. So it's like, we're always going to be honest with our kids. We want their mindset right. We build their confidence up. We give them all the tools possible to go to these top schools and be a dude at their schools. But There's a time to go compete for a scholarship, and there's a time to be a 15-year-old kid
That's right.
and be a freshman and just go play freshman football, which is fun, right? There's so much stress and anxiety a part of this process when you're a junior and senior. Why put that on a kid in 8th grade going into 9th or 9th going into 10th? He needs to focus on the foundation. Learn your team's playbook. Learn your coach's name. Build a relationship with them. Learn the system.
Yep.
Learn that new transition and master that before we try to go put ourselves out there and get rejected because no one's offering a kid that young right now.
Yep.
And it's like, surround yourself by people who are going to be honest with you, brutally honest, right? And for me, I don't do these things to hurt your feelings. We don't invest so much time in you, 10 months, year round, coach you to do all these things to tell you you're not good.
Right.
We're doing this to put you in the right position to be successful. But what tends to happen is they go to other places and they pay other trainers to say, oh, you're good, you should go.
For sure.
No, bro, like, stop lying to them.
Yeah.
We need to put them at the right high school, whether you're Division I through Division 12. We need to put you in the right position. We need to put you at the right camp, the right setting. We want you to peak at the right time.
That's right.
Right? We have to peak at the right time. And the last thing we want to do is discourage them as they're peaking. Now we just stunted their overall growth and development that could impact their success going into their new high school program. Or if you're a college kid going in, or a high school kid going to college, if you're a high school kid going to college, you're not focusing on the NFL now. You're focusing on learning how to be a college student.
Exactly.
Time management skills.
Right.
Short-term goals. Go back to that.
Exactly.
We're trying to focus on short-term goals right now, not long-term goals.
Exactly.
If we're worried about long-term goals, you're going to miss everything in between that really matters. That's going to make you great because we're focusing on the end product.
That's right.
Right? When you came to our program as little kids, your idea and your game plan wasn't to go to a modern day of Bosco. No. It was just to get bigger, stronger, faster, and then get recognized.
Yep.
Now our kids are getting recognized by the top high schools. Now they're trying to listen to all the other Jimmys and Joes out there that don't know their plan. They don't know what they went through. So now they're saying, go to this camp.
Yep.
Go do this. Go do that. Those people don't know. They don't have a clue what's going on. So for the kids in our program, we're always going to be honest with them. We're going to set them up for success.
Always.
We're going to make sure their mindset is right.
Always.
And we're going to peak them at the right time to have success.
That's it.
And, for us, that's our ultimate goal for the kids in our program. But most importantly, as they go through these things, right, there's going to be adversity. They're going to fail. There's going to be rejection.
Yes.
Which is why you're so important, which is why we have you in our program. For the little kids up to our pro athletes, they have to understand they're going to fail. They're going to have rejection. There's going to be adversity. And the steps that you put them through, right, those have to be applied day in and day out.
Day in, day out. Consistency, right back to it, right back to keeping the main thing. 100%. Right? And understanding, like, you're only as good as what you're going to do today, right? So stay present. Keep your mind on what it is that you can control. Sounds
so cliche.
It's so
one foot in front of the other.
That's
brick by
it.
brick. All these slogans. It sounds silly, but it's what makes you great. How good could you be tomorrow?
That's it.
Day by day.
That's it. That is really it, man. People try to control the process, man. Trust the process. What you need to control is just the things that you can control, right? Attitude, your effort, right? The decision-making process that you're putting yourself in. Understanding, is this going to work for me or against me? If it's working against me, don't do it. I know it sounds cliche and so simple, man, but it's like people are just immune to. And
you dropped a great gem right there. Don't try to control the process. Trust the process. And I tell parents all the time, and what he means by that is, right now, a lot of kids are trying to control the process.
Yeah.
What high school we going to? Who's in front of me? Yeah. How fast could I play varsity?
Yeah.
What college could I go to? You're trying to control the process versus trust it.
Exactly.
Trusting it means, right, you show up day in and day out, you do your job, and then good things happen.
Exactly.
And what I mean by that is so many kids right now want to go play varsity as a freshman, right?
Right now.
Right now.
Yep.
And I always say the kids that came out of our program, the best players in the country, right? The reason why they played as freshmen were timing, luck.
Right.
Something happened.
Yeah.
The reason why Damani Jackson played as a freshman was someone got hurt or the guy in front of him transferred to IMG.
Which none of us are predicting. We can't control that part of the process.
But because he trusted the process and just put in the work, he then naturally replaced that guy.
There it is.
When Damani Jackson got hurt first play of his senior year versus Duncanville, Darius Dixon was a freshman.
Yep.
Right? Had no thought about playing varsity. Right? Well, Damani gets hurt. Well, guess what? Darius Dixon starts as a freshman at
There
Mater
you
Dei,
go.
right? The Nazir Wyatt, best player in the country, didn't play as a freshman,
No.
right? Corey Foreman didn't
No.
play as a freshman. Aiden Breland didn't play as a freshman.
Yeah.
There's a lot of kids that didn't play early,
Yeah.
right? Because their timing and luck wasn't on their side.
Exactly.
But if you trust the process
Yeah.
and something might happen,
Yeah.
are you ready for that opportunity to step in and fill those shoes?
That's right.
So many people are trying to look at a depth chart and figure out this guy or this guy or that. I want to go to this school because this guy, I could beat him out, or I want to do this because of this guy on the depth chart,
Yeah.
or this guy's leaving, right? You're trying to control everything, and now that messes up your mindset.
Exactly.
And it messes up your daily approach, how to be great, and it puts you in a position to pick the wrong school,
Right.
because you're trying to control the process versus just looking at a program, say, this is a good fit for me.
Right.
If I trust the process,
Yeah.
eventually I'm going to end up being a guy that plays early or just ends up playing and has opportunity to go to college.
Exactly.
And good things will happen when you trust the process.
For sure.
But when you control it, right, one of the best players in our program right now, started listening to other people, right? Started not doing what we were saying that's going on. So he's trying to go to maybe Mission Viejo, Mater Dei, Damien, Santa Margarita. Now we're getting crunch time. It's June. Now he doesn't know what school he's going to go to because he just did the dog and pony show, try to show himself off to everybody else. And the kids that trusted the process went to these high school programs, worked through 4 verts, did their workouts, got scholarships. Now is this kid who is better than a lot of them. Now he's trying to go to certain schools right now. And they said, we have no scholarship money available.
Man.
You have to pay full tuition to go here because everything's gone. Instead of him trying to control it and look at the chessboard and try to make the right move and show himself off to everybody, well, now he's in the worst position out of all of them, where kids are getting ready to report or already working out with the high school teams, and he's still trying to figure out what school to go to.
Behind.
And that sucks. It's
It
like,
does.
bro,
It does.
why? Like, just listen to the process, trust it, follow the blueprint, put in the work, and you'll work yourself into a position versus you trying to do the dog and pony show. And now you're part of the circus like everyone else who's left, and it's like everyone else is set up. And one of the best players is sitting here twirling his thumbs like, I don't know what to do. Can you help me? And it's like, it's June. I'm calling the coaches. I'm helping. I'm trying to do things behind the scenes. But it's like, they're like, Jordan, why did he? I said, bro, the blind lead the blind.
Oh.
You start listening to people who don't know what they're doing. And now you start doing what other people are doing who don't know what they're doing. And now you're in a situation where you don't know what you're doing. And you're looking at all your friends like, dang, all you guys are set up. Yeah, we're set up. We're ready to go. We're taking summer school classes. We're getting ready for workouts and practice.
Yeah.
And we're paid. We got the bag.
Good.
And it's like, well, I'm better than all of them. Well, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
You try to control the process instead of trusting the process.
That's it, man. There's just an element of faith to it.
Yep.
Right? Like if you're trying to control the process, man, that just deep down just shows the insecurity that you don't believe in yourself. You don't trust yourself enough that you're gonna show up when the lights are on, or when your time comes, like you're not gonna be ready, right? Like we talk about Darius and Damani and all them, right? And you just gotta recognize that luck is just preparation meeting opportunity, right? So trust in the process, man. It's just have that faith in yourself, man. Have that confidence in you to know like you're not gonna let yourself down. Right, when you start to see the world like that, and you start to see yourself like that no matter what you're gonna do today, you're not gonna let yourself down. You're gonna go get it. Bro, hungry dogs run faster, man. You're gonna go get what's yours, right? So when we say trust the process, we're not trying to be cliche, man. You're hearing the examples that we're breaking down for you, but you gotta recognize at the end of the day, man, it's you versus you. Right? Like you got all these people trying to get what's yours, man. Don't let anyone get what's yours. You got to get your mind locked in. You got to understand that you only got one shot at this thing. Don't fumble the bag, man.
Yeah.
Don't fumble the bag.
And people always ask, like, how is Winter Circle still around after 10 years, after all these other people have shut down and gyms and all this? But you guys still seem like it's year one where you guys are thriving because we show up to work every day.
Yep.
Some days we know what we're doing, some days we don't, but we know we're showing up and we're going to give you everything we got all day. And the staff is going to do the same and good things are going to happen. The only thing that follows hard work is results. Right? Starting this at 24 years old, you coming on in your 20s. All of us here, we were young kids getting out of college, and we just invested into our dream, our process, our mindset never wavered. Didn't matter who came in, who came out, what hate we got, how we got attacked. Not little attacks, like like you name it, right? When you're doing something so unique and so different, people are going to challenge you, right? I see it on our other podcast videos. People are questioning everything that we say, and some people agree, right? And for us, if we ever wavered, then we'd be like everybody else. We would change it and adapt and try to please people.
Preach.
But the way we do what we do, the way we do one thing is the way we do everything. And that's with our full heart, our full mind, and our confidence, knowing we're doing it for the right reason. Everything I preach, I've gone through. We have 10 years of success stories to show it. Doesn't matter if it's male or female. We've been with kids who are successful, kids who were the best players in the country who struggled, how we had to get them back on track, how we had to help them transfer schools. We had kids who went first round draft pick, pro bowlers. We had Olympic athletes. Everyone has gone through something. Very few kids go from youth All-American, high school All-American, college, and get drafted.
Right.
That's not life.
No.
The 99% are going to go through something.
Exactly.
Right? And we've gone through everything that you're going to go through, whether it's a player, a coach, a mentor, and we've seen every single obstacle that people are going to go through, even with COVID.
That's right.
Right? Even with the transfer portal, with NIL, right? All these new things that are happening that challenge athletes day in and day out. We have the answers to the test.
That's right.
Right? And we're able to give that to the people who want to listen. Right? And we could only prepare you as much as we can prepare you with the information. Now the athlete has to trust the process, and they have to apply what they learned from us.
Yes.
Bigger, stronger, faster. Yep. But most importantly is their mindset, right? And for the kids that are leaving our program, right, they get to go through your mindset class every single week, a full curriculum. You're the only social and emotional learning program that's out. There's a lot of people who try to do what you're doing now, but no one has the resume, the results, the curriculum that you have, right? And it's funny because when we started as a training facility, we added the prep school.
Yeah.
People start copying that. We added recovery, we added nutrition. Yeah. We added Jake Lee's championship cognition class. Now you see all these people, it's like, we do mindset. It's like, you guys don't even know the first step to the first step of what we're trying to do. And
Absolutely.
It's cool to have experience.
For sure.
Right? And the experience that you have and you set our kids up for is just on a different level. There's a lot of good athletes out there who don't make it. But I feel like the reason why our kids are so successful is, and they all say, favorite coach, class, Jake Lee, because you are able to build an individual relationship with every single kid that comes through our program, and you help them through every obstacle, whether it's divorce, whether it's not starting, trying to make a team, transferring, brothers or sister might get killed, dad, we've seen it all,
everything.
And for you, what do you think the most common thing is that you see kids that come into the program struggle with, that you have to help them through? We'll start with that question.
Yeah. The biggest thing that I would think,
not being good enough, or
it's a lack of confidence. It's a lack of confidence. It's being kind of like we were talking about here, being someone good on your team and then stepping onto this campus and seeing everyone's a dog.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, that's a little intimidating,
right?
Can I hang, right? So that's definitely the primary, I would say. Lack of support's another one at home or whatever rough kind of setting they may be in, right? And knowing like we might just have to pour into them a little bit or give them some resources, right? And like you're saying, just formulating that individual relationship with them, that trust, it goes everywhere. You know what I mean? So then when it comes time to practice, right, and they may be having a down practice and they see me walk by, it's like, okay, get my mind right. Or they'll remember some little mantra that I might have told them, right? Keep the main thing. Oh, I'm focused on this play that I messed up on. Let me get my mind reset, right? So just like everything that we're talking about here, man, JC, you heard it in his story. And same thing goes for me, man. Everything that I'm going to teach you, man, I live it. I live it, right? So you can sense that I'm real. A big part of my philosophy is authenticity engages. I got to keep it real with you for you to keep it real with me, so we can relate.
Kids sense bullshit immediately.
100%.
You can't lie to these kids. You can't fake it. You can't be half in, half out. They really could sense who's really there for them, which 100%. Is why you're so successful for these kids.
That's it, man. I stay true to me. I let it be known, man. And if someone's trying to get better, man, I'm gonna pour into them. It's as simple as that, man. I just want to give my all to the people that want it all, man.
And I would say, next question.
Yeah, what's up?
What is the biggest thing that you see with the kids who transition from our program to high school when they come back that they struggle with? Is it the same thing all over again, or
Man, a lot of it's taken
is
this
it
time
maturity?
frame.
Is it boyfriends? Is it girlfriends?
Yeah,
Is it college? Is it the time management skills? What
yeah.
is that kind of thing for the high school kids that you work with?
Yeah. A lot of it when they first come back is recognizing how good of a system we have here,
How good they had
and
it, huh?
how they didn't really they recognize it,
But they don't realize it
but they
until they're
realize
around.
that
Yeah,
exactly, and it's like, dang, I had Coach Jordan keeping me accountable. Dang, I had mindset every single week. Dang, I had Coach E in here at 6 a.m. having me hype when I first walk in. Like all these little things, man, and then from there it's just trying to acclimate and coexist with athletes who may not have that same kind of mentality that they now have. And it's like, okay, how can I forge my leadership, or how can I navigate through these waters, because I'm used to everyone just, we're going right now. It's like it's not the same intensity, right? So it's just the transition, and it's such an honor to you and the program that you've established, right, to understand, like, at this level, this is like the pinnacle, man,
because
the
for
amount of
me,
training.
if I would have had a coach Jake Lee a part of my journey, right, I would have made so many better decisions. I would have been a first round draft pick out of
Yeah,
USC, right? I probably wouldn't even be
appreciate that.
sitting here, I was a good athlete, came from a good home life. My dad, my mom, they gave me everything that I needed to be great.
Yeah,
But the, not saying the mindset because I was a competitor, but it was you know, dealing with adversity.
exactly.
Not
Exactly.
yeah, I'd work through adversity,
For sure.
but learning how to recognize when I was slipping,
That's right.
right?
Yeah,
Learning how to snap myself back in,
exactly.
right? You go through depression, right? You go from
Sure.
being the best guy in the country to going to USC with
Yeah.
the best of the best,
Yeah.
going through coaches leaving,
Yeah.
transferring,
For sure.
right? Through that whole journey, when it really got crazy for me was just I wasn't prepared for that,
That's it.
right? I was prepared to be the best football player possible and outwork everybody,
Right.
but there's gonna be adversities, right? I went
Yeah.
through a lot of trauma. Grandpa
Hmm.
passed away from cancer. My uncle, all when I was in high school. Grandpa got killed in a hit and run. My uncle got killed in a hit and run. I lost a lot of different families, divorce,
Hmm.
parents and things like that.
Hmm.
I wasn't prepared for the unknown.
Exactly.
I was prepared for the
Exactly.
grind and the game and all that stuff,
For sure.
but it was the unknown of life
Yeah.
that it's hard to, to
Yeah.
to deal with.
That's right.
So for me,
That's
it's
right.
having that type of person to go to,
Right.
and I feel like that's what colleges lack, right?
Exactly.
And pro teams lack. It's like, why is he doing this? Why is he that? Well, he was never prepared for these things,
Exactly.
and
He's been
you're
showing signs this whole
yeah, he's
time, but
been
we didn't.
there's signs and all that the
Yeah.
whole time,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
with SC, they knew I lost four people between my ninth grade year and my senior year.
Yeah.
I had four deaths back to back to back to back, and they knew that, but there was nothing set up for me,
Exactly.
so for me, um, I worked so hard to get there
Yeah.
to make my family proud.
Yeah.
I put everything in the back burner
Sure.
and I just kept working. But once I got to college, I said, oh,
Yeah.
I finally made it,
Yeah.
and then you go and then you start getting comfortable. I'm here now. I'm
Exactly.
going to class. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And then you go through injuries, right? You go through, different things, coaches leaving, transferring. And it's like, okay, well, now I'm a grown man.
Yeah.
I can't really talk to my parents about it
For
because,
sure.
that's disappointing. It's a hard conversation to
Yeah.
have. Um, so to have a Jake Lee and to have a mindset coach to say, I've seen this before, I've
Hmm.
been through it with other athletes. This is what you need to do. Here
Yeah.
goes your short-term plan.
Yep.
Here goes your long-term plan. When you
Do it.
recognize yourself falling off, this is what you need to do.
Right.
Right? This is how you get
Right.
your mindset right. This is
Exactly.
normal. First thing, this is normal.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
People go through this, right? When you don't feel like it's normal,
Yeah.
then it's like, okay, something's wrong with me.
Magnified.
You
for
you
sure.
don't know, how do you cope with these things,
Exactly.
how do you handle this stuff yourself at 19, 20 years old? You're still a
Right.
kid,
Right.
so for me, building the program,
Hmm.
I always recognized certain things that got me to where I needed to be,
Hmm.
what allowed me to be great, from whether it's training techniques, coaching, football IQ. And because I went through so many different things, three different colleges, trauma, deaths, addiction, so much, starting a business, all these different things that I've gone through. Um, I know what kids are going to go through. I always say
Right.
God used me to go through so many different things that nobody else would probably ever go through,
Yeah.
right? Single mom in the beginning, born 18-year-old mom, growing up in that, being a mixed kid, you're never black enough for your black
Right.
friends, never white enough for your white friends. You're always kind of going through this whole different path um, to where I could relate to pretty much anyone now,
That's right.
right? Whether it's a kid who's trying to be a great football player, start a business, whether you're mixed, you go through divorce, stepdad, whatever it may be. I felt like I was able, God put me through my past so I could kind of relate to kids.
That's it.
But one thing that I know I needed, right? Counseling's huge, right? Now people talk about
Yeah,
mindset coaches and
yeah.
going to counseling, talking about your feelings. Like growing up, my dad, there was no talking about feelings. Right, you're a football player.
Yeah,
you play
come on, man.
linebacker. You play running back. Like
Exactly.
your job is to be the baddest, toughest guy, and
For sure.
don't be weak.
For sure.
Right, but as you get older, you learn you have to communicate with people.
Yeah.
Right, you have to get your feelings out. You have to
Right.
talk about things. You have to bounce your ideas off people.
Mm-hmm.
And now going to counseling has helped me so much, and having a mindset coach has helped me so much to be able to manage being a husband, a father, running a business, a
Blessed,
coach,
man.
having so many people depend on me. There's no way that I could go through those things without having outlets and support systems to have that.
Yeah.
Right. So when we do the whole winner circle thing, bringing you on for those kids that are in our program that have that,
Yeah.
it shouldn't stop in 8th grade.
No.
Because
no.
up to 8th grade, it's easy.
Exactly.
Like you don't pay no bills. There's
Yeah,
no
no.
stress. You just
Yeah.
have to show up and do your job.
Yeah.
It really gets confusing and hard, the peer pressure of high school.
For sure.
Right? Talking to girls. Do I have a girlfriend? Do I have a boyfriend?
Right.
Am I good enough?
Yeah.
How do I fit in?
Yeah.
What is my identity?
Exactly.
Right? I didn't learn until college what that meant.
No.
Right? What's your identity? I play football.
Right.
Well, outside of football, who are you? Right?
Why you asking me that, man?
Why you asking me, right?
What are you talking about,
What do
man?
you mean?
Yeah,
This is what I was taught to do.
Exactly.
Right? So these are all so important things for kids to learn younger is, what is your identity?
Yes.
Who are you as a person outside football doesn't make your identity.
Right.
Do you have somebody to talk to when you're struggling and going through things? Do you have the people around you who could tell you the truth? Do you have a great mentor, someone that could help you, go through life?
Right.
Life is life. Life is hard.
Gotta have mentors,
Right.
man.
So for the kids that come through our program, it's awesome. We build them up into gladiators.
For sure.
But the hard part starts now.
Exactly.
When you graduate the program, the hard part is the 4 years of high school where you're trying to figure out who you are still.
Yep.
Then if you make the transition to college, it gets even harder because now people are counting on you, right? And I always go back to minorities. The household depends on us from these different backgrounds, whether you're Polynesian, Black, Mexican. Not a lot of our parents went to college.
Right.
I was the first one to go to college in my family, and especially when you're a athlete coming from that background, they always say, if you make it, you want to buy mom a house, a car, you want to take care of your family. So then we add that extra layer of pressure on us as a 19-year-old kid. Not only do I have to go to college, not only do I have to manage this whole new life of playing athletics in front of 100,000 people and being judged and criticized every single day.
Yeah.
Now it's from TikTok to Twitter to social media. You suck. You had a bad game. You're not playing. I deal with it today, and on top of that, you now are trying to go and feed your family and make enough money to hopefully take care of your family who invested everything into you getting there.
Exactly.
Like there's so much pressure for
It's
kids.
a lot, man. It's so much. And having, like you're saying, having a mental coach, having a mentor, having someone there who you can learn from, right? And then just get stuff off your chest. Sometimes you just need to cuss out the world, man.
Yeah.
And start feeling good after that. But
and a lot of kids don't go to their parents for these things. They don't want to disappoint them. They just bottle it up.
So, I mean, obviously I'm a little biased with this whole thing, man, but just know, like, if you ever in that position where it's like you really about that life and you really trying to go far, and it can be in sports if you're hearing this and you're not in sports, you're only going to go as far as your mind has leveled up to be. And I think it's crucial. It's crucial, especially if you're a youth athlete or a young individual, man. Get with me, man. You can find me at Championship Cognition and Winter Circle Athletics, because the power of the mind is not a joke. right? And I know things may be tough. You might be going through it right now, but just know that anything you've gone through can happen in reverse, man. You're not destined to be the same version of you that you are today, right? And for my hope for you is that you're not going to be that, man. With some help, some facilitation, man, I can give you the tools that you need to have your mind work for you rather than against you, man. So I just want to say JC, man, I'm really glad that we hopped on here today, man, had this conversation. I guess a bonus nugget, point seven for y'all, just because I like y'all a little bit, is make sure that you have a proactive plan, a reactive plan, and then a way to recenter yourself when you feel like you're losing control of what it is that you're trying to do. Okay, proactive plan, and I'll break it down for you real quick too. Proactive plan, go into something with an understanding of what it is that you want to accomplish. That can be anything from confidence to your goals. Reactive plan, how you're going to respond to any kind of adversity, how you're going to respond to yourself, right? Sometimes we get in our own ways. Matter of fact, we play defense on ourselves more than a defender will ever guard us, right? So how are you going to react and respond to these things? Also a way to center yourself, right? Because we're only as good as what we're doing now, like I said earlier. So you need to find a way to get yourself back to the present moment. It can be as simple as snapping a rubber band on your wrist, feel that physical sensation. Once it snaps, you tell yourself, hey, be where your feet are. Be here, be in the present moment. Okay? Do those 3 steps. Let me know what you think.
Yeah, I appreciate you. And for the kids out there, parents out there, right? There's going to be a lot of people who try to tell you what to do,
Yeah.
who never done it before.
Right.
So when I always say the blind leads the blind, don't go down that path, right? Because now you're going to follow a bunch of other insecure people who've never gone through the process, who don't know what it looks like, who are just as confused as you are.
Right.
And then you start getting bad information and start making bad decisions.
Exactly.
Life is about making good decisions, right? And avoiding obstacles and pitfalls, right? So lean on people who've gone through your path before, who've done it before. And that's what makes Winter Circle special. You could train anywhere, right? Training only takes you so far. It takes more than talent now to make it, right? You have to be a complete athlete. You have to take the holistic approach, mind, body, spirit, and we provide all that here at Winter Circle Athletics. Welcome to Inside the Circle, episode 12 with Coach Jake Lee. It's so important to have him on the show just so we could kind of touch on every aspect of it. We hear from pro athletes, former athletes, current students. We've kind of touched through a lot of it, but now it's so important as these kids make this transition into our program, into our new football program, our program or another program, make the transition to high school to college to that next step. And even if you don't make that next step, how do you transition back into life, right? We always talk about life after sports. When the ball drops, does your life stop? And so many people, when the ball drops, their life stops, they go through depression, right? How can we get you working in a single direction to be successful and not have to go through this whole little path, the ups and downs, and try to figure things out? We're here to give you everything. When we say the blueprint, we really believe we have the blueprint to success. When we say we are the standard, we are the standard. There's nobody else who could prepare you, mind, body, spirit, like Winter Circle Athletics. Jordan Campbell, your host, Jake Lee, mental performance coach here at Winter Circle Athletics. If you need any questions, you need any help, whether it's recruiting, picking a school, just someone to talk to, and you're struggling, please inbox us, Championship Cognition, Winter Circle Athletics, J_Campbell, WCA on Instagram. Reach out to us. We're here to really help you guys. We love what we're doing. If we didn't, we wouldn't be here doing it. So talk to you guys soon. Subscribe, like. If there's any topics you would like us to touch on, please email me, jordan@wintercircleathletics.com. We are here to give back to the youth. We're here to help the family make their transition easier. We love you guys. Welcome to the circle.